Welcome to the City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here, your host. As I say every week, don't forget to download the Live 365 app. The thing is, if you're listening to me right now, you've already downloaded it. What you need to do is tell your friends, tell your mother's friends, tell your boss's friends. Stop people in the street and say, hey, download that Live 365 app. But there's a lot more than just me and the GGR radio station on Live 365. There's music, there's podcasts. It's funny, everything's a podcast now. I've been doing podcasts before they were in fashion. I've been doing half-hour, one-hour shows for the last 25 years. Now it's all called podcast. This is a podcast radio show. That's a podcast. Everything's a podcast. But there are a lot of podcasts on Live 365, a lot of music, a lot of news. It's free. So download the Live 365, then tell your smart speaker to play GGR. What you do is like we do here with Alexa. It's Alexa, play Live 365. And it will ask me, would you like to resume GGR? And I will say, yes, I would really like to resume GGR. And then it starts playing whatever show was on there. So again, do that. What we're going to talk about today, first off, it was a very busy weekend. Normally I do a lot of my writing on the weekend. Busy weekend. Everything I touched turned to crap. It got to the point where like it was a dark cloud hovering over me. So we've got a new camera. I want to talk about that. But FedEx delivered. FedEx is the worst friggin' delivery service there is amongst the Amazon and the UPS. We want to talk about that. We're going to talk about Trump taking on crime in D.C. I applaud him for this. It's about sometimes somebody stepped up and said, hey, we got to do something about the crime in these major cities. D.C., I didn't realize how bad it is, but now they start talking about the numbers. It's bad. We're going to talk about James Solomon, Ward E Councilman, who's running for mayor of Jersey City. He conducted a poll. Got some interesting math in there. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Mayor Fulop and his role in this mayor race. Yeah, who do you think he's going to endorse? Who does he work with? Who does he try to help? Does he sit on his hands? I don't think he's going to sit on his hands. Mandani's rent control department in New York City, I think that's hysterical. This guy's talking about taxing the rich and going after everybody, and we're going to tax the white neighborhoods. This guy's sitting in a rent control department. Pretty interesting. I want to talk about bike usage. We got to lay in some laws on bikes and e-bikes. During the week, I was tweeting with some guy about bike lanes, and when you start losing the argument, they start calling you names and getting vulgar. And I said, "That's it. Goodbye. We're done talking." But there are some things I want to bring forward. Phil O'Day dropped off a gazillion petitions. We'll talk about that. Shore Show Radio, Seaside Heights Edition. We're doing that starting Friday. And we're going to talk the big thing about comic book movies. Now, I go to all these. I even get my shirts and my Fantastic Four shirt. I'm set. When I go to see these comic book movies, there's 4 of them out there. Are they flops because they didn't do $1 billion? I don't think so. But these are all the things we're going to talk today about. And we're toll-free here at 855-999-0799, 855-999-0799. And we'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its 2 newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
We're back. I'm talking about Blue Gatorade. You're listening to the City Show Radio here on GGR. I'm Pat O'Melia. I got this case of Gatorade Zero. I like the green one. That's the good Gatorade. But they mix it up. I'd rather just get the flavors I like. I got the orange, I got the green, and I got this blue stuff in there. And it's not grape. I don't know what the hell it is, but it doesn't taste too good. But it's cold. Today is very hot. But I'm out of the air quality should be decent. Yesterday was bad. It was really bad in Jersey City. It got up to about 130. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. Got a lot of bad weather coming up. We got a lot of rain coming up Wednesday and Thursday. Of course, I'll be out in the street there Thursday. I'll be out there covering the commission meeting, so yeah, I'll be out in the rain. So take whatever precautions, pay attention to the air quality. If it's super hot, stay in the air conditioning. FedEx. I'm going to actually do this before the real important stuff. We're in hiatus here in the studio, video hiatus. We're working on things. Garrett's working on a New Jersey line. We're cleaning up some of the projects, working on new openings for shows. A lot of things going on. And we always update the studio. This year, I'm putting in new cameras. We got the kids coming in, the high school kids. I think we got a few other high schools that are joining us. Every year we do the high school program. I try to do a little better. We're going to have cameras dedicated to them. We got a control van. For that matter, I just got the case. By the way, I got the case for the equipment, but that box is too big to put in my car, so I'll bring that up tomorrow. I'll bring that up tomorrow with the control van. Tomorrow we're putting the shelving in the control van. So this way, come September, we'll be able to outfit the control van for the high school programs with video capabilities, broadcasting, radio capability. But we're working on getting cameras. I want to get 4 new cameras in the studio. And I came across an auction on eBay, which is normally I should stay away from because first, anything I buy used is usually bad. But I couldn't turn away. The description of this camera, the cameras I'm looking to get, was too much to resist. So I get into the, I know I talked about it last week. I get into the auction. I win the auction. There was a couple of bids we did. And I win. They had an issue with PayPal, but we got all that squared away. The PayPal debited the wrong account. Now comes the easy part. They just got to ship it to me. Not a big deal. It's FedEx. They ship things every day. Lots of things every day. Should not be an issue. It's an issue. But everything that was going on for me this weekend was an issue. It's supposed to be at the house Saturday before 6:40. Somewhere before 6:40. Somewhere between 6 a.m. and 6:40 p.m., really narrowing it down. So you got to have somebody to sign it because it's an expensive piece of equipment. And waiting. You want to go out. You want to go to church. Can't go to church. Wife goes to church. I stay home. Nobody comes. You want to go to dinner. We're waiting for this. Nobody comes. I'm doing the now it's like 7 o'clock. I'm doing the updates. Still, it's coming tonight. It says, waiting. Wife comes back. Said, let me run a couple errands. Do a couple errands. Come back. Still nobody. It's still saying at 11 o'clock it's coming. I know it's not coming at 11 o'clock. There's no update. You'd think they give you an update. Amazon gives you an update. UPS gives you an update, but not FedEx. FedEx is the worst. For that matter, if you do get it delivered by FedEx, it's usually at the wrong house. I'm in it with the Ring community. You hear it all the time with FedEx deliveries. They dropped it at the wrong house. So, no update, no nothing. Sunday comes, absolutely nothing. Still no update. Actually, it's still saying it's coming Saturday by 6:40. This is FedEx. Not an update. Finally, on Monday morning, there's another update. It's coming by 4:46 p.m. So now, again, we got to hang around at the house waiting for this. But I had some work to do on cars, so as I was working on the cars, did some oil changes. I'm on these blood thinners from the procedure. All I got to do is bang my arm into something, I get all bruised up. Well, I'm keeping myself occupied. 4:46, whatever comes by, still nothing. There's no update. Now I'm sitting in the garage. I finished doing the oil change on the black Chevy, and all of a sudden, here's this guy walking up the steps with a box. I'm like, maybe this is my FedEx. I can't see the truck from where I'm sitting there. Guy's got headphones, so I'm yelling to him from the garage. Yo. I can't hear a damn thing I'm saying. He's ringing the doorbell. Sorry. I'll let my wife get it. He said if I go up there and get it, I'll probably drop it. So he gives it to wife, and also that's done. Now we can go have some pizza. So we went and get pizza, some fried calamari. Oh, by the way, I'm down at Seaside. This is all that's happening. Right after dinner, I get a text from Amazon with a picture showing me the box they delivered with my this carrying case that we're going to put computers and broadcasters in, a hard like turtle box. That's how you do things. Amazon gives you text. It tells you the next 10 stops away. Yeah, the guy's going to show up, takes a picture. There's this big box in front of the house. Even though I do have directions to bring it upstairs, but they didn't do that. But FedEx, absolutely awful. For that matter, I do anything on eBay again, I'm going to try and stipulate. Maybe they got a deal that they got to use FedEx. Absolutely awful. UPS, Amazon, They'll tell you where they are, how many stops away. They'll send you a picture. They'll say you're at the house. Nothing from FedEx. If you can, don't go. I'm not probably telling you anything you don't know when it comes to FedEx. They are absolutely awful. Now, let's get to some real things instead of me venting about FedEx there. Pissed me off, had me sitting around for 2 days. Trump. Again, you love Trump, you hate Trump, whatever the case is. At least the guy does something every day. Good, bad, he's out there. You know, that's why I have to get cameras. Because you need cameras with Trump as the president. You don't know when he's ever going to show up. He might show up here just to be on TV. Guy's on TV all the time. Every day he's got to have something. Now he's taking on crime in D.C. I didn't realize crime was that. You know, you heard stories about carjackings and that sort of thing. But listen, I live next door to New York City. You know, you hear that stuff all the time. Some poor bastard was just pushed into a train this morning or yesterday evening. Crime is rampant. And it's funny how they always keep saying, well, our crime numbers are down. It's probably because you're not reporting them. You know, not to believe what I see and read. I got this footage. They're dragging this guy off of friggin' rail tracks. Yeah, there's a problem. And a lot has to do with the mentally challenged people. Trump obviously has gotten fed up with it in D.C. Yeah, you know, he works there. So he's taken over the police department. He sent in the National Guard, and they're cracking down on crime and homelessness. The other thing is the homeless, you can't have 10 cities in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah. And the thing he was talking about in the press conferences, which every day is a press conference, you're starting to miss Biden. When you wouldn't hear things from Biden for like 2 months, then he'd pop up. Trump is every day. Fox should give him their own channel. But I'm going to go on YouTube, do a YouTube show. Just have your own YouTube channel with Trump. He was talking about something his father said. Said, son, if you're going into a restaurant and the front door is dirty, you can bet that the kitchen is dirty. Don't go in. And he said, you know, people come into D.C., and it is a big tourist attraction. You want to go see the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, the White House, the Capitol. I would like to see it. Never did. But then again, you know, lived in Jersey City all my life. I've only seen the front of the Statue of Liberty, I think, once. And that's when my daughter, Gina, was a Girl Scout. And we were on the New Jersey, the shuttle boat there. We took a ride, and it was like the first time I ever seen the front of the Statue of Liberty. Empire State Building, major attraction. I've seen it twice. I was delivering trailers when I first started in radio. I was delivering trailers at night to pay for the radio show. And a couple of times I was detoured that I was driving right in front of the Empire State Building. Well, look at that. It says right in front, Empire State Building. Would have never noticed it. But D.C., there's a lot of attractions. People go there. And now that he's taken over the police force, they're showing all the crime statistics. This woman, ABC reporter, ABC News, isn't exactly favorable, the legacy media, to Trump. And she's outlining all the crime that's in New York. That New York should be in D.C. I mean, it could go to New York, too. Carjacking, shooting. I think she was mugged. Fellow employees that were shot. Yeah, there was a real problem. Then they started putting up the statistics for murder rates in D.C. If D.C. was a state or a country, would lead the nation in murder rates. It would lead the world in murder rates if it was a country. That's how I didn't realize I got that bad. Carjackings, murder, shootings, stabbings, muggings. And obviously we weren't handling this. So Trump decided, I am the president, and today is Monday, so I think I have to do something. So he went out there and he's taking over the police. And I applaud him for that. You know, and they went out, I don't know if I was watching Fox or MSNBC. I forget which news agency. Maybe it was Channel 4. They were interviewing people in D.C. They interviewed like 10 people about the crime situation in D.C. to a person. They all said they didn't feel safe. They all knew about crime. They were all complaining about the slap on the wrist. There's no stopping these young people who are committing these crimes. You know, I get off the train here saying I'm worried about getting mugged. How the hell do you live like that? You know, we talk about Jersey City here. We're not doing too bad. At least you can walk out in the street here. You can get off the friggin' path train and not worried about, or the light rail, and not worried about being mugged or stabbed. So kudos to Fulop and James Shea there. You know, how do you live like that? And to a person, everyone they interviewed, they all had a very similar story. And all ethnicities, all walks of life. except when you got to the Democratic-controlled elected official. Oh, the crime numbers are coming down. Why is he doing it? Because they're not coming down. You may be screwing with the numbers, but they're not coming down. Now, where does Trump stop with this? Because there's nobody, no, the average Joe, the average American, the person that's worried about their mother or their children aren't going to say, oh, I don't want Trump enforcing, handling law enforcement and trying to make my city safer. So he did this in L.A. I could see him going to Chicago, where it's like a murder an hour over there. New York City, I know Eric Adams has done the best job he could. Crime is still a subway crime. You couldn't get me in a subway in New York. I'm a car guy, which we'll get talking about bikes later. There is no way in hell you would get me on a subway in New York. It's like a daily event. Some friggin' mentally deranged person pushes somebody in front of a train. Or there's muggings, or there's stabbings going on. Shootings in the bodegas. There's problems over there. Now, I don't want to bring up Rudy Giuliani, but Rudy Giuliani, he got tough on crime. He changed New York City. He brought, Times Square back. And it was the broken windows philosophy they used back then with Rudy. Before Rudy went off the deep end. He was America's mayor. He did a good job in New York City. If you could forget the deep end, Rudy, he's a pretty good mayor. Yeah, but then he went off the deep end, so that hurts. But when you talk about crime, and it's astounding how bad the crime is in D.C., yeah, something had to be done. Now, the Democrats are all going to start bitching and moaning about this. Oh, we should be doing it. It's an overreach. The crime numbers have been coming down. There's only 5 or 6 people being shot every day in D.C. There's only 3 or 4 carjacking. There's only X amount of muggings. It has to stop. And the other thing we need to address is the people that are mentally challenged and the homeless. We've got to come up with another way of handling this. If somebody, I was listening last night on NJ 101.5, and they had some people that were homeless, people who are working, and they're still homeless. One guy was talking about he lost his apartment. I think it was in Tom's River. They couldn't find a new place that would. They had a disability-challenged son, wife, him, and a dog, and they couldn't find either a place that would accept the children or the dog. So they found one place where the mother and the child could stay, but they wouldn't accept the dog. So this guy's living in his car at a Wawa at night, sleeping there with his dog until they could find some other accommodation. The guy is actually working, has money, but they just can't afford the rents in Tom's River. He could handle the rent. I think he said he was paying $1,900 a month. And what happened with the apartment they were at, the owner wanted to put his 2 sons in the apartment. There's nothing. You own the property. You give the guy enough time to find another apartment. And they did, but unfortunately, they couldn't afford the rents. And that's one of the problems we have here in New Jersey. And it's not just Jersey City, which is very high rents. I think we're the number 1 in the nation, even though it's starting to tick down a little bit. Somehow, we have to come up with some affordable housing, real affordable housing, that doesn't diminish the values of the homes that we have now. That's important. This is generational wealth here. This is houses you're going to leave to your children. You don't need that being devalued somehow. And this somehow is, like I said before in many shows, you get the feds, you get the state, you get the county, you get the municipality involved. And you build affordable housing. You can build it high. For some reason, we don't build it high. We'll build some townhouses. Go 10, 12 stories or higher for affordable housing. If the wealthy can live in high rises, the low-income people can live in high rises, or middle-income people can live in high rises. But getting back to the homeless, if you're homeless and there's a mental problem, you're not taking your meds, whatever the case is, you can't be out amongst us. It's not safe. I realize everybody has civil rights. I have them. You have them. There's a problem here if I have a mentally deranged person sitting on a bench, you're walking by going to work, and he just stabs you. And it's mentally deranged. There's cases like this every day in the news. That has to be handled. People who are working and they can't afford a place to live, that's something the county and the municipalities need to step in and say, all right, we can assist. If you can handle a rent of $1,800 a month, we can come up with another $400 to help this person to get them back on their feet. the people that are all strung out on drugs or there is a mental issue, that's got to be handled a different way. But we just can't have them hanging out on the sidewalks, in the subways, at the bus stops, wherever, where you're trying to, go to work or come home from work, and you have this issue, or your mother has it, or your wife has it, or your daughter. You're walking by this group. Is it safe to walk by them? What's going to happen? You don't know what you're dealing with here. In the old days, we had the mental institutions. We closed a lot of them. I think sometimes the answer to the present problems are in our past, how we handle that. And you may say, well, we incarcerated them, we institutionalized them. Something has to be done. We just can't have them sitting here stabbing people and committing these heinous acts because they're off the meds or they can't be cured, whatever the case is. I applaud Trump for what he's doing there. He is going to attack a crime, and he's going to clean up the homeless situation. How he's going to handle the homeless, that we have to see. When I come back, we're going to talk about James Solomon's poll numbers. You'll listen to the City Radio Show. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
We're back. City Show Radio here. Pat O'Neill, you're on GGR. I'm looking at the cap. I thought I had some contest in this Gatorade cap. I do. James Solomon released his poll. He conducted a poll here for the mayor's race here in Jersey City. And he's doing very well in his own poll. For transparency, I did reach out for James today, and I asked for the questions they used. I was told this morning, as I was getting ready to get up here, coming up to work, that a lot of these questions were very slanted in favor of Solomon and against McGreevy and O'Day. So I wanted the questions, but I didn't get them. What I might try to do next week, I think next week is going to be my last city show for the summer until we come back when we finish hiatus. Doing I'll get to the Seaside show. We're doing live shows on the boardwalk down at Seaside, helping tourism. When I come back, maybe next week I'll bring Solomon in, and we can ask him some questions about his poll and his platform. I got a bunch of questions from his school platform. He wants, if he becomes the mayor, what he's going to do school-wise. Good luck with that, by the way, Solomon. You have absolutely no pull with the school. But getting back to his poll, he's done very well in his poll. In the last year, his name recognition in Jersey City jumped 28 points to 73%. That means 73% of the people in Jersey City know the name James Solomon. Yeah, if you're going to vote, and if you're civically minded, you're politically active in Jersey City, I'm sure you knew who James Solomon was before. Been a councilman here for 8 years. I still remember his first debate in the old studio. We've got to start putting our debate together, debate times and dates. I got to get with Comcast on some air dates. And I got to get a pterodax out of him so we can broadcast live through our streamers here. The numbers, the interesting thing with his poll numbers is the math. There's some fuzzy math here. First off, he's got some name recognition going on. I would assume we knew who the hell James Solomon was after 8 years of being a council person here. According to his poll, 53% of the people who are going to vote in this election have decided who they're going to vote already for, whether it's Solomon or McGreevy, O'Day, Waterman, whatever the case is. But the numbers between him and McGreevy and recognition, I believe that's what we were looking at, recognition, He's 1 percentage point ahead of McGreevy. Now, we didn't really have any O'Day numbers in here. I'm positive I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a three-way dance unless Joyce Waterman makes a real run coming up. It's really going to kick off right after Labor Day, the campaign. Solomon's working hard. O'Day's working hard. Jimmy Mack is working hard. Joyce is out there now. He's hitting the streets. Masad Ali is out there. But things really kick into gear after Labor Day. Now, you got 22%, according to Solomon's poll, 22% of respondents in this poll are undecided, and 53% have decided. So that comes to 75%. What happened to the other 25%? Where are they? Undecided? They're not there. We're thinking about it. What happened to these 25%? And in one of the stories, I forget on which one of the sites. The story I'm reading here is from the New York Post, but I think it might have been a Newsbreak, where the former mayor of Jersey City, two-time mayor of Jersey City, Gerald McCann, he chimed in with some comments, but he points at the thing, where'd the other 25% go? So you're telling me we got 22% undecided and a missing 25%. Whatever happened to these 25 people? They didn't answer the door or the phone, whatever happened, whatever the case is, they didn't respond. So that leaves you at 47%, basically undecided or uncommitted, whatever you want to say. So they went somewhere, these people. But getting back with these kind of fuzzy numbers, I'm going to reach out and see if we get Solomon for next week. And like I said, that'll be the last city show until after we come back from hiatus. I'd like to get a little time for myself. And we got some more stuff to do here. Hopefully next week we get some more new cameras in here. But I ain't getting them from FedEx. I don't care. You're not sitting me down here at FedEx and have me wait days for this, sitting around the house. I'm telling you, handicapping right now, today as it stands, the top three are Jimmy Mack, Solomon, and O'Day, whatever order you want to put them in. And it gets interesting from there when I look at those three candidates. What can they bank on here in Jersey City? Solomon's got the Ward E, but it's kind of a transient Ward E. People move out of there. They get there. They move out. They kind of think they're in New York City down there. Once they achieve whatever the goal is, they move out of there and to the suburbs or a different part of the city because it's very expensive down there in Ward E. Or, like I said, a lot of them don't even realize they're in Ward E. They think Eric Adams is their mayor. James McGreevy has name recognition, whether good or bad. Whatever you want to say about McGreevy, if you want to hold over his head what happened 20 some odd years ago when he was the governor, you can hold that forever. Did the guy get a chance to redeem himself? He's done a hell of a job with the reentry program. Whatever you want to say about James McGreevy, he's really has dusted himself off and got off the ground and really made an impact on many, many lives. So should we give this guy a second chance? Yeah. Was he convicted of any crimes? No. He resigned. To resign in disgrace, I guess. But he certainly rehabilitated himself, and in a tremendous way with his reentry program. And then you got Bill O'Day. Bill O'Day has been a constant source here in Jersey City. I've known Billy, I guess, about 30 years now. He's been elected. I guess he's been elected in one way or another, a city council person, freeholder / commission, that's what we call him today, for the last 35 years. He is an icon on the west side of Jersey City. I don't care when he feuded with the HCDO, when the HCDO tried to run the candidates against Bill squashed him. No matter what, he runs on the line, runs off the line, it doesn't matter to O'Day, he's going to win. He's earned that trust of the constituents in his district. His district is pretty much the west side of Jersey City. I have to look at the map. I think some of Journal Square. But he's been a prominent figure for many, many years here in Jersey City. When they talk about progressives and all, O'Day is like the original progressive. He was progressive before we had the term here. I've been dealing with I've been on many sides of the issue with Bill O'Day. I remember one of the first issues was development on Liberty Avenue that was destroying this woman's house. And O'Day was involved in it. I got involved with the radio. This developer was bit bad. It was dropping cement all over this woman's house. She couldn't enjoy her house. But we got it settled. I thought Billy should have done more. Again, I didn't know Billy too well at that point. But we got the woman taken care of, the developer. Lots of big thanks to Glenn D. Cunningham. And don't break the law, Pat, with that developer. But we got it done. The developer eventually decided he was going to clean up this woman's property, get all new air conditioning. She had the window units that were covered in concrete, the development. Clean up the house. I think she received some financial settlement also. But that was one of the real first big accomplishments I was involved in with the radio show. This woman, Helena, and we did a good job. But a special thanks to Glenn D. Cunningham, who I told him what the deal was. Actually, she was a barmaid. We were all in the bar. I told him what the deal was. And he goes, all right, Amelia, gotta take care of it. And he grabs me by the shoulders. Don't break any laws. So could I bend a few? So we bent a couple. I remember standing that one day when there were no permits for work permits. Sitting on my white Volkswagen, looking at this guy. He got the message. You're going to take care of this woman's house. You're not going to be doing any work on it. Condo. But we got that taken care of. Billy Billy and I have been on the same side of issues. He's a guy that you could, my opinion, a guy, no matter how much Bill and I argued over the years, that he's been in the studio, we produced for him, we've done it. Once that issue is done, we move on to another issue. Whether we were in agreement, disagreement, we argued over it. Once the issue is over, there's another issue. It's one of the problems we have here in Jersey City. A lot of people, maybe in Jersey too, a lot of people are one-issue voters. Oh, if you don't agree with this, I can't have a vote for you. There's going to be a lot of issues. You're not going to, it's like I say, nobody gets a whole loaf in Jersey City. Yeah, you do your best. You try to win the issue. You don't win it. Next issue. Next up. I see these guys, and with O'Day, he has generational constituency. His constituency goes to grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, son and daughter, nephews. Yeah, he's been around that long. And Billy has had his association there. I know Billy well. I've seen what he does in the district. People remember when a politician does something for you, they remember that. And Billy has a lot of people who remember what he did. So that's why these are the three big guys. It'll really come down to McGreevy for his name value. Like I said, good or bad, and what he's accomplished since he resigned as governor. He has no constituency in Jersey City. He has not one ward that he can say, I know I'm going to get votes out of this ward. O'Day can say that in the West Side. Solomon can say it in Ward E. McGreevy doesn't have that. He wasn't a councilman here. He wasn't a mayor. He wasn't a commissioner. He was a governor, and he was the mayor of Woodbridge. Like I joked with McGreevy, these Jersey City born. So as soon as you learn how to walk, you left. But would he be a good mayor? I think he would be. The problem for McGreevy is no constituency. There is no block of voters that he can bank on voting for him. So he has to go in as best he can with name recognition. Solomon, he's talking about name recognition here. As a council person after 8 years, I would assume people would realize. If you were a councilman at large, I could see how people wouldn't know who you are because those guys have like the easiest job in the world. But probably the hardest jobs in Jersey City is being a mayor and a ward council. But that's 24/7, 365. When you're a ward council or mayor, people are looking for you all the time. With whatever issues, whatever the problem is in your neighborhood, whatever the problem is in your city, whatever that problem is with that tax bill, why is my tax bill this way? You're going to your ward council, and you're going to go to the mayor. Some people might go to council at large if they realize we have them, but for the most part, that's the cushiest job you can have. That's even cushier than being a county commissioner. That's the cushiest job you can have. Toughest job really is mayor and ward council person. Very tough. But I see the race for mayor in Jersey City, unless Joyce really makes a strong run. I know she's putting a ticket together. We'll start working on those tickets. When we come out of the holiday, we'll have the whole breakdown on all the tickets. Joyce got to make a strong run now. But right now, it's a three-way dance. That's between McGreevy, O'Day, and Solomon. And, we'll eventually have them all in here to the studio. We'll have them on the radio. We'll be doing the mayoral debate like we always do here. I think I'm doing two of them. I think I'm doing one for NJCU and one for the Hudson Media Group, as we always have. All right, we're going to break for commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Fulop impact on the race for mayor. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back. You're listening to City Show Radio here. Pat O'Meara on GGR. We were talking about the race for mayor here with the top three candidates. I'll throw Joyce in there as the fourth, but she's got to start kicking it into gear. What role does Mayor Fulop have, and who would he lean towards? Well, let's go look at the top four. Putting Joyce in there, and I want Joyce calling me up and say, "Well, you know, me in the top four." Now, Fulop is very close to Joyce Waterman, been the council president, at least for two of Fulop's terms, I believe, yeah. Fulop is very close to Bill O'Day. Bill O'Day's been with Fulop from get-go, right from the beginning. From his councilman days, he was like, I think, one of the first elected officials to endorse Steve Fulop for mayor when he was running against Jeremiah Healy. Willie stuck his neck out, and it worked out. And those guys have been together. They've had some, it's like me, they've had some issues between each other, but they've always, next issue, however that issue worked out, next issue, step up. Solomon, they have a relationship. I wouldn't say it was a close one between Solomon and Steve Fulop. You know, Solomon has certainly taken his shots at Steve over the years. Kind of been, mismanagement of the city financially. A lot of shots. Fulop and McGreevy, he ain't no relationship there. He's fired him from employment and training. I think they were suing each other for a while. There's a lot of bad blood there. I don't see Fulop doing any endorsements for Jim McGreevy anytime soon. So we can forget that. So if Fulop's doing an endorsement, and he will, he has to do an endorsement, I believe. He could sit on his hands, but that's really not how Steve is. The endorsement would come down. If you look at the relationships over the years, it would probably be between Joyce Waterman and Bill O'Day. And if I'm going to say right now, I'd say it's Bill O'Day. Right now, Billy has a better chance of winning a lot better chance right now than Joyce Waterman has. Unless Joyce got to get out there running, hitting the pavement, shaking the hands, kissing the babies, and get in this race. And she got to do a lot of fundraising. I think Billy's sitting on like $1 million. McGreevy's sitting like on $1.5 million. I think Solomon's sitting on, I think it was around $700,000. And I think Joyce has some ShopRite coupons, buy one, get one, that sort of thing, the digital coupon, that sort of stuff. So Joyce got to get busy. She'd be a good mayor, Joyce. But she's taking a long road to get here. But after Labor Day, everything kicks into gear. We'll start paying attention. You'll start paying attention. But if I see right now, I would have to say Mayor Fulop endorses Bill O'Day. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't see any other endorsement. They've been together since Fulop has been the mayor. Yeah, they've been teamed up for a long time. I don't see any other place for Steve Fulop to go. Actually, I'll reach out to Steve. I'll find out where he's going with this. Mandani in New York City. First off, I don't see how the hell any American city would vote for a socialist. That's not how this country is formed. We're a capitalist society. Everybody gets the same opportunity. What you do with the opportunity is up to you. Listen, you got to go to school. You got to get an education. You got to get a craft, a skill. You have to acquire this. I don't think anybody gets held back. I always never bought into that reasoning about ethnicities or color things hold you back. And teaching, I went to school in Jersey City. I was taught the same as everybody else in the class. Nobody was taught any differently because of economics or ethnicity. That's how this country is set. Capitalism, not socialism. Socialism works until you run out of other people's money. And a great example of that is Mandani's apartment. He neglected to mention that during his campaign that, yes, I live in a rent-controlled apartment. I pay $2,300 a month in New York City. I think it's Astoria, Queens, actually. I think that's where it is. Now, Cuomo has discovered this and has been beating him over the head with it for the last week, but rightfully so. You're in a rent-controlled apartment. You're banging down $142,000 a year as an assemblyman. You come from a wealthy family. Another thing that the Mandani guy doesn't mention, that he comes from a wealthy family. They just had a wedding where they spent big bucks on a wedding. Yeah, listen, you have the money. I don't begrudge anybody what they do with the money. You earned it. Do what you want with it. Yeah, you want to squander it, that's your money. I hate when people say, well, look what he spent on that. He could have helped needy families. That's not his job or anybody else's job. You earn the money. Do what you want with it. You want to give it away. You want to give it to your kids. You want to invest it. That's what you do. You went to school. You got an education. You acquired a skill. You learned how to dance or become a carpenter. Whatever you did, you made good investments or your parents made good investments. It's your money. Nobody should tell you how to spend it. But there is a problem when you're taking away apartments for low-income people, a rent-controlled apartment that somebody's making $50,000 a year, maybe he's got 2 kids, and you're banging down $142,000, an elected assemblyman in the state of New York, and you're in that rent-controlled apartment. Now you're saying, well, I got it. I wasn't making a lot of money there, but I was thinking about moving. As soon as you're thinking about moving, as soon as Cuomo came up and it showed everybody that you were in that rent-controlled apartment for $2,300. And we're making it sound like $2,300 is like cheap rent. That's $2,300 a month. That's pretty expensive. And now Jersey City, I think our average rents in Jersey City are like $3,400. Yeah, I'm glad I grew up in a different time in Jersey City where I could get an apartment for $35 a month. I'm not kidding you. That's what you used to pay. And I'm not talking like the 1900s when there were dinosaurs walking outside. That's that far back. No, this is in the 70s. In the 80s, I think when Barbara and I got married in the late 70s, we got the apartment on Grace Street. I think we were paying $120 a month. 1978, 1979. They wouldn't let you sit on the porch for $120, $130 a month. That's where things just blew up here. But it's a double-edged sword. Now, the people that own that property, they got a property that's worth $1 million. And they're paying taxes on that. Maybe that's something we should look at, the tax structure. Well, really, you want to look at the tax structure, you got to look at the Board of Education. Now, I like how these mayors are all talking about doing something with the Board of Education. You have absolutely no pull, no sway, no pull with the Board of Education. Unless you had an appointed board. Then you got some say and sway. But, Rod's kind of chickened out on that. But Mandani, that's pretty sad. And now he's caught in it. Now, it'll be interesting to see. Now, in a general election, most people come out to vote. Primaries, unless you're in New Jersey or Jersey City, we don't come out to vote no matter what it is. I think we'd have to pay you to come out to vote. A good turnout for Jersey City is like 18%. They are getting back to O'Day, Solomon, and McGreevy. If it's low voter turnout, O'Day wins. O'Day will be definitely in a runout because he can run off because he can count on votes. Where the other guys, McGreevy, got no ward, got no constituency here, and Solomon too. I don't know how many people in ward they're in Jersey City, but the Mandani thing, that's insulting. But they just did a poll that came out. I don't know if it was before the revelation about the rent-controlled apartment, that he's like up 20 points on Cuomo. Eric Adams isn't even registering. I think he was at 7. I think my old buddy Curtis Sleever is at like 12%. So this is a 2-horse race, and Cuomo's going to have to pound away on that rent-controlled apartment with Mandani. Now, Mandani's running around doing a 5-borough tour about attacking Trump. You're not running against Trump. Actually, I think even Mikey Sherrill has stopped the Trump attacks now. So you're not running against Trump. You're running against Citarelli, who was in Seaside Heights this weekend. I didn't know he was there. I would have brought him in the garage where I was broadcasting out of. Would have been, come on, sit in the garage here. Sit on that overturned garbage can over there. We'll conduct an interview with you. But he was there. Bike usage. Yeah, with Twitter, we was going back and forth with this guy until he lost his argument. Here's the bottom line. First of all, bike lanes, as I've been saying, they're not 24/7, 365 mode of transportation. They're squeezed in the streets. I honestly don't think they're safe. I don't know. I rode around Jersey City when I was a kid on a bike. I didn't need all the protected bike lane. And the cars were far more dangerous. They didn't have disc brakes. They didn't have anti-lock brakes. They didn't have motion sensors on them. It was me and a 53 Buick going down the boulevard. So it was daring back then. But we used to drive against the traffic. You've seen the eyes of the other guy over there. If we're going to share the road with bikes and e-bikes, which I think it's more e-bikes now than it is bicycles. There's e-bikes all over the place. And they're not in the bike lanes, by the way. E-bikes are everywhere but in the bike lane. And even the bikes aren't in the bike lanes. They're on the sidewalk or in the street. If I'm going to share the road, and we got to share the road with bikes, then they got to abide by the rules of the road, the laws of the road. And what are they? Well, you got to need some sort of an operator's license. And the first thing it's going to be say, what, for a 6-year-old? What about a 6-year-old? You're not an effing 6-year-old. You're an adult. Maybe we make sure that effing 6-year-old isn't in the street. That's probably wise that kids that age shouldn't be in the street. Maybe we'll have to make an allowance to let them on the sidewalk. But when you get a little bit older, if you can ride an effing e-bike, you can have an operator's license. And stop. That's always the thing with the bike people. Well, what about a 6-year-old? You want them to have a license? Okay, yes, I want them a license. Well, we'll get like a coloring book operator's test, and they can take it. What are you laughing about? Did you take your test? You know? Don't laugh over there then. You didn't take your driver's test. You got a license? You got a license, right? She has a license. You have a license? You know, Zoe got a license over there? Yeah, don't sit there talking about coloring book driver's test. Yeah, go take it, people in the peanut gallery over there. Yes, they should have an operator's license. They should have a registration. We have some sort of tag on them so we know who caused an accident. Because when they cause the accident and they roll off, they got no insurance. My car's damaged. Who's paying for my car? You don't have any insurance. You're sharing the road with me. I got to pay friggin' buku money for car insurance. What are you paying in car insurance? You're young? Ooh, that's probably a lot. Ooh, that's tough. I pay a lot because I have 7 cars. Who has 7 cars? All my cars have a job, but they all have a purpose. There's some in North Bergen. There's some in Jersey City. There's some in Seaside Heights. And, well, actually, the tiny van, the control van, is it's a company van. So, but I'm responsible for 7. Do you need 7? Probably not. But I do a lot of miles. You got to have insurance. If you're gonna be in the street with me and you can cause an accident, you can hit my car. You damage a door on my car, I'm looking at a couple of $1,000 if I got to reskin it. Somebody's got to pay for that. And you can't be sitting there, scratching your butt saying, "Oh, I'm sure that's just a bicycle or an e-bike." No, you got to have something there. You should be wearing a helmet also. Whatever laws apply to a motorcycle should apply to these e-bikes and bicycles. Now, the e-bikes can go up to about 30 to 40 miles an hour. You can get going pretty quick on a bike also if you got good legs on it. Whatever applies to a motorcycle should apply here. If you're going to share the road, then you're going to share the expense of the road. And there should be something in, some kind of a road usage tax like we're now doing with the electric vehicles, since they don't pay a fuel tax. There's a registration where it's $250 a year road usage tax. I wish they would charge me $250 a year and allow me to deduct the tax off the pump. So I'm paying a lot more on fuel taxes than $250 a year. Why Tesla cars get away for that, but $250 a year is beyond me. But what we need to do with the bicycles, and if you want to make a deal out of a 6-year-old kid, he shouldn't be in the street. But if okay, we'll do an operator's license test on him too. The argument is stop that crap. Well, what about little kids? We're not talking little kids. We're talking you. We're talking the delivery guy, this knucklehead that keeps saying, I'll ride my bike in the snowstorm and in the cold. No, you're not. Nobody is. Nobody is unless it's some guy that's got a bunch of DUIs and he's going to the bar. He might be riding his bike in the cold. But you're not. You're not that stupid. But that's what we need to do. That has to, actually, I'm going to press upon our state senators when they're in here in the studio that we have to have, and there's enough chatter in Trenton now about codifying the e-bikes. So we just throw the bicycles in there. Out of order here. Bill O'Day, showing the old political showcasing here. Went to City Hall yesterday with 7,500 petition that Sean Gallagher's got to count. Now, he's got these boxes in front of City Hall, boxes upon boxes. Isn't it great? I got 75 signatures. Well, friggin' poor Sean has got to verify all these friggin' signatures. Sign up. You don't need 75. But you went out and had your people, Bill, breaking their ass in the hot. Sign this. We'd like to sign our petition so we can make Sean Gallagher do a lot of work. You didn't need 7,500, but you did it anyway. There's that picture, whatever, all with his running mates there, Tom Zuper. Yeah, they're all hanging out there. Hearts out there. Yeah, you didn't need that. Yeah, you can see. I wish I could do a close-up of City Hall because you can see Sean Gallagher looking out the window saying, "You effing, I got to count this. 7,500 petitions." And, of course, nobody else sent any in. Saying earlier, we're going to be doing the Seaside Heights Shore Show Radio on Fridays and Saturdays. This week, I was up on the boardwalk yesterday, testing, hardwiring in the broadband. Everything tested. I was surprised it wasn't a bolt of lightning that came and struck me. That's how this weekend was going. I figured it'd be spark or something to set the boardwalk on fire. But all that went well. And the town just put new guardrails up around the Franklin Street stage. So I'll be broadcasting on the Franklin Street stage. Hopefully. I got to drag this equipment up. It's something I didn't think about with two bad legs. I got to drag the equipment up, 2 chairs, a table. So I may have to talk to my buddy Billy Ramboli, get my buddy Billy Ramboli involved and have him meet me with a couple of DPW guys so he can help me carry that stuff up there and meet me afterwards and carry that stuff down. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You listen to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
We're back. You're listening to City Show Radio here. Pat O'Meara on GGR. Comic book movies. This will be how I end the show today. What is the comic book movie? Well, you got two. You got the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Hulk, those guys, and the DC Universe, where Gunnar just took over, and his first movie out was Superman, and we did an origin story on Superman again. But it was okay. You know, I enjoyed Superman. First of all, movie to me doesn't have to be life-altering. It doesn't have to change my life or my perception of life. It just has to entertain me for a couple hours. That's all I ask. And it's my superhero movies. That's cool. I like movies with robots, superheroes. You got a cape. I'm cool. You got a hammer. Yeah, cool with that. Yeah, robot. You got some zombies in there. I might go zombies. You got some space-age robots. I don't mind the Transformers. Transformers have so many plot holes and logic problems that nobody should watch them. But they're entertaining and on the loud side. These are the kind of movies I like. I might go. My daughter's trying to talk me into going to see Weapons next week. This is a horror movie. We have no other superhero movies coming out right now, so we may have to dip into a horror movie. So we might see that next Thursday. My daughter's off from school right now. She's a school teacher. So we was talking to her, why don't we go see Weapons? My wife says, yeah, we can go see Weapons. Anybody got a cape? Maybe even a tummy cape? You ever see that one progressive commercial? And it's all about Superman. It's a Superman themed commercial where the progressive group, a tree falls on a car and they run out there and they say, are we here to save the day? And the one guy goes, not all superheroes wear capes. Some of us wear tummy capes. They're like, don't even say that again. But getting back to the movies. Now, I've seen I even seen Jurassic Park, and I said earlier Jurassic Park would be the big money movie of the year because everybody likes dinosaurs. Was it a great Jurassic Park story? It was okay. But you knew what was going to happen. The dinosaurs in dinosaur jail. Dinosaurs going to get out of dinosaur jail. Dinosaurs going to eat people. And then we got to catch the dinosaurs or kill a dinosaur or somehow rehabilitate the dinosaur. Well, you knew that was going to happen. And you got Black Widow. Charlotte Johansson was in it, so that was cool with me. But every one of the Jurassics is pretty much the same story. Dinosaur escapes. Dinosaurs are mutant. Maybe an X-Men. Maybe it's part of the X-Men universe, these dinosaurs. These are mutant ones now. There's another story for Charlotte Johansson. She died. Well, she might be coming back in Endgame. Not Endgame, Doom War. You never know, because Captain America has just been, Chris Reeves, Chris Evans is back. Captain America is now Doom. So I've seen all four of these. You had Captain America, Brave New World. It was okay. It wasn't Chris Evans. You got to get used to a different Captain America. Got a Red Hulk in there. The story could have been a little better. And you had Thunderbolts, which I think was the movie of the year. That was the best movie this year. Then you had Superman, which is okay. It was entertaining. Yeah, it's Superman. Yeah, I don't need a lot of background in Superman. I understand. But this Superman was getting his ass kicked a lot. I don't want to tell you why, but I don't ruin this movie for you. And then there was the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family. Fantastic Four, it was an enjoyable movie. Was it the best? No. But they keep talking about all these movies being flops because they didn't do $1 billion. $1 billion is the exception. There are so many Avatars, Endgames, Infinity Wars. I don't understand how Iron Man 2 and 3 did $1 billion. Captain Marvel did $1 billion, but I think there was a lot of fugazi accounting with Captain Marvel. Not all these movies do $1 billion. Iron Man 1 didn't do $1 billion. Captain America, First Avenger, didn't do $1 billion. Now, the Avenger movies, Avengers Civil War, Avengers Ultron, it did the big money. All those will make it. Doom, yes, that'll make it. That'll do $1 billion. The two parts. What's the other one? It's Doom, and what's the second one? Secret Wars, is it? They'll do billions. It isn't $1 billion anymore. If they could do $500,000, you've done all right. You got a $200 million budget. Now, half the tickets go to the theater. Now, Brave New World, it covered its cost, and it did well on streaming. Thunderbolts covered its cost, covered the budget, and it's going to do tremendously well in streaming. Superman will do tremendously well, and so will the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four was more of a lead-in, part of a lead-in to Doom. But I don't want to ruin it for you. But if you got YouTube, you can't avoid it. But these were all good movies. Did they do $1 billion? No. Are they flops? No. They're all going to make money. The people at Marvel and Disney, they're going to eat tonight. They're going to eat real well. They've done okay. All right, we're about a show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you next week. Good night.